Expected to seek out the best. 2 words to describe the activity. The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west, and around Africa. We break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News, a 24-hour news station.
It's another beautiful Monday morning, and there's a lot of counting going on. While some say 33 days to the rescheduled April 28 presidential elections, others are saying that it's actually 95 days to go to the May 29 handover. While the Bring Back Our Girls movement is also counting the number of days the Chibok girls are already using in captivity to then makes it to 315 days. I am Nifemi Oguntoye, and thank you for joining us on Cool Digest this Monday morning as we bring you in-depth review and analysis of top stories as they break in Nigeria. In quick reaction to the quite a number of successes we reported last week as regards the efforts of the Nigerian military on the ongoing war against terrorism, of course, the Bring Back Our Girls coalition is now demanding verifiable evidence of victories over Boko Haram insurgents from the military authorities, noting that accurate reporting in times of war is no doubt a critical tool for winning battles. The group says the military should provide photos, videos and other evidences to show that it was making progress in the country's war against terrorism. The Bring Back Our Girls coalition is in a statement to mark the second week of its 6 weeks countdown to the war against terrorism and rescue of the Chibok schoolgirls in Abuja, says that the federal government and the military should know that they have credibility deficit due to misinformation in the past. You recall that we also reported at the time last year when the Nigerian military says that they have already signed a ceasefire agreement with the Boko Haram insurgents, and that that particular report did not pull through. As a matter of fact, it caused a lot of interesting uproar when at the point in time I believe the Akwa Ibom State governor came up to say that probably broadcast journalists had gotten the news very wrongly, while as a matter of fact we had it on sound and sight when the Chief of Defense Staff talked about a ceasefire agreement. Still talking about the efforts of the military in far northeast Nigeria, you recall that this primarily is the reason why INEC postponed the elections by 6 weeks. Of course, as the Nigerian military and government forces of neighboring countries continue to gain momentum in the ongoing war against insurgency, there is now a group by the name Ijaw Youth Council worldwide that is cautioning the federal government against any possible ceasefire or peace negotiations. The indigents are contending that any idea of negotiation or peace move from the Boko Haram insurgents or their sympathizers must be resisted. The group's position is contained in a statement issued by its spokesman, Mr. Eric Omari. They are saying that indeed all of the ongoing efforts must be sustained to bring insurgency to a halt in Nigeria. They, however, commended the efforts of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the Joint National Forces for the successes recorded so far in the ongoing war against insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria. Many are saying that probably for the first time in a long time, indeed the federal government is matching words with action. You recall the presidential media chat that Mr. President had, and he talked about 6 weeks not being enough to put insurgency probably to an end totally, but indeed they will recover the 14 local governments under the rulership of Boko Haram. Mongono, Baga, according to media reports, have been retaken from the insurgents, and we're hopeful that this new week will also bring some more stories of success from the Nigerian military. However, Mr. President says that insinuations making the rounds in some quarters that he is inspiring or nursing the idea of an interim national government is treasonable. He went on to say that the only interim national government that could be put in place was that of the military, which he added would not be acceptable to the nation and the international community. Now, the idea of treasonable offense, you might quickly want to recollect what the former president Olusegun Obasanjo talked about, how he also brought the Nigeria military into all of this. We'll be joined subsequently by a legal practitioner to be able to identify what line exists between the freedom of expression in Nigeria and treasonable acts, just like Mr. President had suggested. He assured all stakeholders once again that elections would hold on the rescheduled dates and that the winners would be inaugurated on May 29, as he describes the recent poll shift as a blessing in disguise. Indeed, if you also find out what INEC is saying, the number of people that have already collected their permanent voter cards has now risen to 52,419,495. Indeed, it is a remarkable increment from what we used to have prior to the earlier scheduled date of February 14. The Chief Press Secretary to INEC, Chairman Kayode Idowu, confirms that indeed there is a remarkable increase, saying that the figure now amounts to 76.15% of the 68 million plus registered voters ahead the 2015 election. Idowu also stated that card readers will be deployed in the 152,031 polling units across the country during the March 28 and April 11 rescheduled elections, adding that INEC had procured 26,000 extra card readers. You recall that Professor Tayo Jega was at the floor of the Senate last week, summoned by the National Assembly as regards issues surrounding the postponement of the election and the integrity of the card readers. Prior to this time, there were different school of thoughts as regards how ready are the logistics for the use of these card readers. At the time, some people are even saying probably we should go back to the temporary voter card. But it looks as if the professor was quite convincing enough at the floor of the Senate, saying that indeed these card readers have been tested. Over 90% have shown credibility, and we are hopeful that indeed we are moving gradually towards electronic voting system in Nigeria. He says that, of course, it is not within the Electoral Act to use card readers for voting, but he says that these card readers are just going to be used for accreditation, and probably for a long time in 2015, we might be gradually dawdling towards that credibility that has been much talked about. Talking about PVC, Senator Mohammed Ndume is concerned about claims of irregularities in the distribution of the PVC, especially in northeast Nigeria. You recall that after a while, after the postponement, certain issues as regards the fair distribution of PVC also came to light, where the PDP came up to ask questions like how come over 70 and 80% distribution are being recorded in northeastern Nigeria as against southwestern Nigeria, where there is no insurgency. This particular senator insists that there is no truth in the claims that Boko Haram activities should have prevented registered voters from collecting their PVCs. But then that looks like standard logic on the head. If insurgency is the reason why we're postponing elections, how come insurgency is not affecting the collection of PVCs in northeast Nigeria? If indeed insurgency is not affecting that process, what premise are we placing the logic that insurgency would thereby affect the February 14 election, would have affected the February 14 election? Idume, however, who is representing Borno South in the Senate, explains that the exercise was centralized in the state.
I heard about it, but you know, let me tell you, my brother, things that are happening to us, it's only God that will save us. Because you find children that are in the camps that they don't know where their parents are. I have somebody that I know that has 18 children, he could only locate 3. He has 3 wives, he could only locate 1. I have those ones. I have people that are here, children that I had to send back, because when they were running away, they joined all the available means of transport and they find themselves in Abuja. So in some of the IDPs, we discovered that they are, you know, young boys of 16, 13, or even less from my local government that find themselves in Abuja. And some as far as in Lagos. We have to transfer them back to the camps and keep them in the camps there. So, and then you always have people that are taking advantage of any bad situation. So they engage in that. I had, you know, the instances, but we are keeping an eye on it, and the IDP zones are now being more secured, and the instances we have of this is being really taken care of.
Senator Mohammed Ndume, representing Borno South, is also making his position known as regards the irregularities being insinuated and reported concerning the distribution of the PVC. It looks as if permanent voter cards have come to stay. INEC, as of last week, was talking about 1 million cards still being expected. We are hopeful that indeed this extension, this postponement, would be a blessing, and then indeed the power to elect leadership will get back to the hands of the people, that indeed come March 28 and April 11, we will indeed be proud to say that our votes indeed have count. Now let's go to the Federal Capital Territory, where our correspondent spoke with some Nigerians as regards this latest development. Nigerians are reacting to the new amendment to the Constitution. There's what they call the independence candidacy. It means that I can stand up tomorrow now as Nifemi Ogutoye and say that I want to become the president of Nigeria without having to be a card-carrying member of any political party. Although the provisions will not take immediate effect, many of them see it as a good development. I'm just amazed how many presidential candidates we're going to have in 2019. Let's find out what Abuja residents really have to say.
If we begin to apply such system in Nigeria, I think it's good. It also gives room, it reduces corruption, because some people consider the fact that running under a political platform, you don't have to pay a lot of homage. You understand what I'm saying? And but as an independent candidate, you feel you can, if you can board the brunt, you can really run. But for me, I support independent candidacy. It's good. It's good. It's healthy for our democracy.
It's a wonderful thing the Senate has done. But from that, anybody can stand for election anytime, any day, without coming out on a platform of any political party. I believe it's a good thing for our democracy. And from there, we can move forward.
If you want to test the popularity or anything, there's no need to form a political party. Yes, the political party have a role to play, but bringing an independent candidate into being is enhance the political terrain of every nation in which Nigeria belongs. To me, I'm very happy for the Senate to pass such a resolution, and I also encourage that it's not passing the resolution alone, but let it come into being, into practical, let people be. And those who are independent candidates should be given a fair and fair, not for other people to use their own political party to suppress or dominate those people.
Will it really work? Are you aware that there are about 14 presidential candidates for the 2015 election? I had one of them with me, I think, 2 weeks ago. But you know, realistically, there are 2 major contenders. The reason being that the remaining political parties have not been able to gather all the resources, just like the APC and the PDP. So what happens when they give someone like me a chance to canvass for vote? Of course, I was speaking with someone earlier who was asking, where do I get all the 130,000 party agents, I mean personal agents now, so to speak, from? But we're hopeful that it will run a perfect system, I mean a better system of electoral process, then probably indeed people can begin to think of issues rather than all of these situations that we're dealing with. Now let's go to Lagos, because it looks as if the Lagos gubernatorial campaign is also raising as many dust as the presidential campaign. Now, why is that so? Lagos, no doubt they say, is the commercial capital of Nigeria with a gross domestic product of $90 million. Now, that's $90 billion, I beg your pardon. Now, in case you're wondering what that means, it's larger than the present GDP of Ghana, larger than the present GDP of Kenya, as well as Tanzania. Now, as home to most Nigerians, many are saying that Lagos cannot afford to have a lesser than professional and experienced leadership in 2015. And the dust are being raised, unlike the presidential campaign that has been much of personal attacks, mudslinging, you know, hate speeches and all of that. If you come to Lagos, many will say it's been more of issues, more of cool-headed guys. As a matter of fact, the Lagos gubernatorial candidates have had more debates than any other candidates across board in Nigeria. But the moment the incumbent Lagos State governor started talking about personality, it looks as if it started also getting some critical reactions from concerned Lagosians when the APC started touching on the age of the PDP candidate, started talking about taxation evasion. Well, whether that indeed is an issue, I leave that for you to judge. But of course, we got an update of that from the Lagos State Governor, who also says that the inability of the Lagos PDP governorship candidate in the general elections to pay the land use charge of his pharmaceutical firm for some years continues to generate reactions. Fashola says that the firm has remitted 500,000 naira now out of the alleged over 1 million naira debt. The governor made the disclosure at a media interaction with members of the Lagos State Governor's press crew at the Marina Government House. He says the remittance of JK Pharmaceutical firm vindicated his earlier statement on the issue.
Same thing with his tax record. First, he said JK is not Jimmy Abadi. JK Pharmacy has resigned. Now he has gone to pay 500,000 out of 1.6 million. He's still owing. He published some receipt about a few days ago that this is 500 and something thousand. So it's true now that he was owing 1.6. He's still owing. He must pay because that money belongs to the local government.
Now, there are about 17 gubernatorial candidates for the rescheduled April 11 governorship election in 2015. But realistically speaking, there are two major contenders. Read my lips, it's PDP and APC, and you can sue me for that, but that's just the truth. But let's also begin to find out what they have called an issue-based campaign in Lagos relative to what the presidential elections have to say. Unlike the APC talking about the tax evasion, it's amazing what Abadi is actually talking about. In this particular one, he is talking about ideas, and he has promised the people of the state that it will deliver an ocean-based economy for the people of the state. It says that just like the people of the north and other places rely on their most abundant resources to drive growth, it will drive growth through the ocean, and through that, the addition of value to all activities based around the ocean.
Lagos, through Ekpe and Bejuleki axis, for example, can actually be the national fish processing zone or processing hub for Nigeria. That means that our fishermen don't have to catch fish and sell at any price on the day they catch fish. So you begin to talk about the value chain that is associated. They can store their fish. You begin to make, other things, sardines and things like that. So you begin to process. That is the beginning. From there, you look at the boats that they use. By the time they're able to store their fish, then they need bigger boats. You need to have people who begin to build those boats. So you want to know that in this part of the state, those boats will be built. You're going to use engines. People are going to repair the engines. They're going to talk about trawlers. You're going to talk about fishing nets. So, in diversifying the economy, which is the way forward, we're saying that that is some aspect that we have to look at. And that, in a nutshell, is what the ocean economy is talking about.
They say Lagos is another Nigeria. When you talk about the 2015 general elections, APC has been in charge of the commercial capital of the country for the past 16 years, just as the PDP has been in charge at the national level. This time around, it looks as if it's getting so interesting. Recently, the NOI polls came out to talk about a very close opinion poll as regards this election, saying that probably Abadi is just leading by 5%. NOI also was quick to add that that was just 50% of the opinion polls, that about 50% of the eligible electorate in Lagos are yet to decide. Interestingly, I'm joined by two of Core TV News correspondent this morning, and they seem to have dividing opinions on these developing issues. Kazim Kasali is Core TV News correspondent who has been following the APC campaign rallies since the beginning of all of these campaigns. Good morning, Kazim. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning.
We also have Oluwase Adegoke, who is also our correspondent, but she has, on the other side, been following the PDP gubernatorial campaign team. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Shay. Let me start with the lady. They said ladies first, right? How would you put the chances of the PDP gubernatorial candidate ahead of the 2015 general elections?
Oh, well, I think Jimmy Abadi has a good chance to become the next governor of Lagos State. He started his campaign by town hall meetings, specifically saying that the town hall meetings will allow him to tell the people at the grassroots what he actually wants to do for them if voted for. He finished that, went ahead to do rallies with the help of the Lagos PDP. He's gone to Ikeja, Shomolu, Bariga, Ajeromi Felodu, where whenever he gets to the campaign ground, you see people receiving him. People go frenzy when they see him. Everybody loves him. He has this personality that you won't but like. And when he talks, you want to listen. He's a good orator. People like him. And I think Lagosians, they could be emotional. They could be emotional with the coming election, that they might feel, oh, because I like this guy, I think I'm going to vote for him.
I think that's where the song comes from. Everybody loves Jimmy Abadi.
Yeah, I think that song is really, really true.
Okay.
Everybody likes him. People receive him with ecstasy. They
It's
go
all right.
frenzy.
Some say Jimmy Abadi is a good candidate with the wrong party for a state that has been ruled by the APC for the past 16 years. I'm sure you have a very different opinion from what you say.
Well, Jimmy Abadi, good candidate, but in the wrong place, personally. Now, but when you look at what we've been through, the places I've been to with the APC candidates, Jeremy Felodon, like she has rightly said, and some other places, the APC candidate has something going for him that a lot of people have not really been looking at. He's worked in the local government. So there is hardly any place where you get to that you won't see that somebody has been here, he's worked here, and people connect with him. And something that really caught my attention was what happened in Ekpe. And I think Yaba. And when the guy arrived, you needed to see the crowd go gaga. That's, let me just, that's an entertainment term. The crowd went, the level of excitement rose. And you can see there is this song by some of the Fuji musicians that have been following them around, that Akinwumi and Bode is Itesiwaju, that is moving Lagos forward. And when you look at where Lagos was in 1999 and where it is today, you see that there has been a dramatic improvement in terms of infrastructure, in terms of policies, in terms of the total Lagos. So I feel, and when you look at also the APC platform that has been there for so long, it's quite going to be very, very difficult.
Let's look at the talking point of the PDP. That looks as if the opposition party is cashing in on what they call the anti-poor people policy of the Lagos state government. We've seen some kind of relationship with the Okada riders in Lagos. Would you call that issue-based? Because, for instance, if you're campaigning with Okada, would you say that it is for the good of the Lagosians or for the Lagos people to return Okada to the streets of Lagos?
Well, I think Jimmy Abadi is of the opinion that you need to expand the economy of Lagos. And you doing that, you need to bring, if you're familiar with his adverts, posters, and different things like that, you see bold ideas and new opportunities. Jimmy Abadi believes you need to create ideas. If you're going to ban Okada, you have to give them alternative, because you don't have to make those people remain poor. You have to give them another opportunity. So he believes expanding the economy of Lagos State, you have to provide jobs for people. And then the most important thing of his manifesto is that he's going to give priority to primary education, because he believes that primary education is the key to a successful generation.
Kasim, unlike Kwara State, where PDP is still finding it hard to get all of the grievance, I mean, the grievances that rocked the primary election and all of the stakeholders back together. In Lagos, they seem to be intact. Obanikoro, right at the back of Abadi, almost everywhere he goes to. Would you two call that a formidable party to beat for the Lagos?
Well, that does not necessarily make it formidable. Now, something that a lot of people don't seem to understand is Obanikoro going with Agbaje does not mean that Obanikoro is supporting it. Let us get that clear. But the fact that the PDP is intact, unlike in previous years when there is an election and everybody goes their separate way, it makes it a bit more formidable than it's always been. You understand? So my belief is it's going to be close. It's a tight race. We've seen that. But the point is, like you refer to the NY polls, there is always 50% undecided voters until the election day. And whoever has the structure, whoever has the grassroots support and mobilization power will win. And in the instance of Lagos that we're talking about, APC has it. So that is what's been going for them. It's not that the PDP has not always been there. They've been there. But the point is, do they nurture the structure?
What about the God factor? I mean, the Godfather factor, because that seems to be what the APC, I mean, the PDP has also been talking about, the Bola Tinubu factor. You hear them say at their rallies that we can't afford, to have one man decide for us for the past 16 years who will rule Lagos. Don't you think that also would count, Kazim?
Well, we talk about the Godfather. Jimmy Abadi also has so many of them, if we're talking about Godfathers now. But the point is, we may say Tinubu is Godfather of APC, but are we really sure that Tinubu is the only one who decides for Lagos? That's something that a lot of people need to also look at. So the Godfather factor is not what is going to be important. People will talk about it. That is, Lagos here has been issue-based, but a lot of personal attacks have also come. You can't call somebody a thief. You can't say somebody is corrupt if that person has not been indicted by properly constituted legal authority. So all this...
Let's look at, just a minute, Kazim, let's look at the debates. Who really has been winning the gubernatorial debates? There's been quite a number of them in Lagos. Why some are saying that Abadi sounds smart and then he seems to have more ideas, that the APC candidate has just been talking about continuity. What are your thoughts along that line?
Oh, well, I think, definitely I'm going to talk, I'm going to support Jimmy Abadi because he, like I said earlier, is a very good orator. When he talks, you just want to listen. And by the time he finishes, you'll be like, oh, I love this man. He has the ideas. He has planned to do so many things. It's not really about continuity. He wants to bring in new ideas, new opportunities for people. Like I said earlier, especially the Okada matter, is saying if you're going to ban Okada, you have to give them another thing to do, so that those ones won't turn to something else, maybe stealing or whatever. So I think it's really, really into that. Is a caption for the campaign, whatever, bold ideas. He really wants to bring in bold ideas.
The idea of the age that came out, out just recently from the APC, the age and then the tax evasion, especially what the incumbent governor said. Would you say that has dented the issue-based nature of the Lagos campaign?
Well, it's fiction for us to say it's been completely issue-based. There have been personal attacks on either Tinubu, Fashola, Jimmy Agbaje, even Ambode himself. You understand? So, but the fact that they talked about tax evasion, even at the federal level, we may talk about, a lot of people will say they are putting tax burden on us, they are doing this for us, they are doing this against us. But the point is, we've all seen what has happened with the oil price drop in the last few months, and what it has done to the economy of not only Nigeria, Russia, and some other OPEC countries. So there has to be an alternative source of funding for the government, and that is what the tax thing is all about. So for me, it's not an issue if you have to pay tax. If you go to other climes, tax evasion is a very big issue. In America, if you evade tax, you lose everything that you have. you go to jail in some instances. So I don't think the issue of bringing up the fact that he has not paid. Now the governor is also saying over the weekend that the man paid. That means there is an issue there. There is something in there that people are not looking at. But as for age, as far as I'm concerned, age is nothing. It's just a number that we can all look at. Then when you talk about having bold ideas, a lot of people say they keep talking about the Okada, but when you look at all of us, even some of us that are seated here in the studio, you see that right at the entrance to our areas, we have gates there where we write Okadas not allowed. Why? Because of some other factors that comes with the Okada riding. You understand? But one other thing I feel the Lagos state government and the APC has not done enough of is to sensitize the people that Okadas have not been banned in Lagos, like something I saw yesterday at Ogba. Okadas were not banned, but you see security agencies will always be overzealous. Some might even think it's a conspiracy by those in the security services to paint the Lagos state government and the APC black.
But there are some who are also of the opinion that probably the APC government has stylishly relaxed its law on the ban of Okada, just as we saw when the government attempted to increase the school fees of the state university last year. And they say that probably because of what they saw in Ekiti State, then APC had to recall that particular gesture. But let's move away from there, Shay. Let me come to you. Mr. President was in Lagos recently, and he talked about, he was quoted to have said that he has come to free the Lagos residents from bondage. Can you take it away from the APC government? Because many are of the opinion that Fashola had redefined governance as far as Lagos and Nigeria is concerned. Can you take that factor away from the APC?
Oh, well, we have to give it to them. They've really tried, the APC, but I think the PVP too, what they're saying now is they can do better. They want new ideas to be introduced into so many things in the state because they believe the current administration is wasting so many things. So we really have to give it to them. They've really tried, but I think
PDP saying that it can do better.
Better.
Let's get to the full lines and find out what the viewers really have to say as regards this issue. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Call TV. This is Call Digest. What's your name and where are you calling from? What's your name? Where are you calling from? Are you there? I'm afraid we lost that. When you're calling in, please turn down the volume of your TV set and let's keep the conversation live on telephone because there's a little delay between what we say and what you hear on your TV. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Kaduna.
Kaduna, what's your name?
Ahmed.
Ahmed. All right, go ahead. We're talking about Lagos politics. Let's find out the interest of Kaduna people.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ahmed, with your contribution.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, I just want to make a few comments.
All right.
I don't want to make a few comments against it.
Go ahead, please.
Check around the whole Nigeria, the whole state of Nigeria. I don't think there's a state that is doing better than Lagos. So, if I'm appealing for negotiation, they should not allow the PDP to come and fool them. Because I believe, 100% believe that APC have just a lot. That's it. So, why if they not get it right now, they will try tomorrow. That's my comment.
That's all right. Ahmed, thank you very much for your contribution. There is a growing perception indeed that Lagos state government has done well. But on the other side, some are saying that if you consider the GDP that Lagos alone has, it's higher than Ghana, it's higher than, some African countries. So if Lagos could get its own sovereignty, it's going to succeed as a nation of its own. And, probably the point of view is that they have not been doing as well as they have the capacity to do.
Well, there are some other factors that we're not looking at here. when you look at Ghana, we keep talking about Ghana, Tanzania, and all of them. When you look at those places, the infrastructure, especially power, is better. We can't even compare to what we have in Nigeria. The Lagos state government has also taken steps to do a whole lot of things that, because of the disagreeable nature of the federal government, they keep putting a stop to some of these things. On the part of power, you recall that Lagos was the first to blaze the trail of independent power project, the Interim power project, and all of that. It's all due to the fact that the federal government sees Lagos as a honeypot that they must have, and so they keep making sure that the government has not really made the kind of progress that you will expect, considering the fact that the GDP is about $90 billion. But we should also realize the fact that it was not like that in 1999.
Just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Call Digest. Can you turn down the volume of your TV set?
Hello, good morning.
What's your name and where are you calling from? What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Abadi, calling from Imo.
From Imo. Please go ahead with the contribution.
I'm calling from Imo State.
Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Okay. As it is, hello? Hello?
I'm with you. Go ahead with the contribution, please.
Yeah. In Imo State, many people are actually looking at the APC becoming very violent these days when it comes to their campaign. And they are actually painting that to be something very, very worrisome, something very, very, Nigerians need to be careful about, because they are like voting any candidate of APC is like voting terror into the country. So that is what is going on right here in the state, and they are looking at it too, going around all over the federation.
It's all right. Abadi, thank you very much for your contribution on the show this morning. I have to let you guys go now, but you have been following the PDP campaign rally for a while. How will you describe the security situation, especially, from your perspective?
Okay. So far, the security has been good. There hasn't been any problem. No gunshots, nothing. It's been perfect.
Can you say the same of the APC? Because I saw a clip.
Well, I'm rather surprised at what she has said, but let's just leave that. The fact is, when you look at campaigns, there is no amount of security that you can put in place that will not, if within the crowd, you have thousands of people of different inclinations and thinking gathered together. Some even come to campaign grounds not because they want to listen to what they are going to say, but just, okay, the last time we had a campaign, you people dealt with us, okay, we are coming back for revenge. So, but the fact is, when these things happen, it's not about putting in place a perfect security arrangement, but when they happen, what has been the response? Like an incident that happened in, I think that was Surulere. Some people were actually fighting, and the governor, Fashola, personally intervened and called them to order. And within, the whole thing was like a minute and everything returned back to normal. And if you were not there when it happened, you would not know that something like that has happened. So for me, security has been good. But no matter how well placed the security are, especially in a place like Lagos, and when you look at some of the places where they placed the campaign ground, they are the campaign ground, then there is an outer place. So there will always be a level of
pockets
of rowdiness and all of that. So, but as far as I've seen, there has been no complete breakdown of law and order. They will fight, they will push themselves and all of that, but it's been good.
Really. Shay, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, one good thing about Jimmy Abadi is that whenever he starts his campaign, he would always preach against violence.
And I think that's
one thing it
that's
talks
been
about.
a
So
regular thing for everybody.
Really good so far.
So it looks as if the peace accord signed by these candidates probably is yielding some
maybe at the
results.
level of the governorship candidates.
Unlike what we saw in Rivers.
Maybe at the level of the governorship candidates.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today on Call Digest. I've been speaking with Oluwase Adigoke and Kazim Kasali, both Call TV News correspondent, following developments on politics in Lagos ahead the rescheduled April 11 gubernatorial elections. We'll take a short break now. I'll be back with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. Stick around. Don't go away.
It's another beautiful and exciting moment. Welcome to Political Arena,
the most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes. We tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well, shine your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The 2015 general elections must be the best.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then news. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.